It is really great to be here and follow Ken's presentation. So I'll start off with asking a rhetorical question. What drives an organization like the Department of Defense, as big as we are, to look towards the ECHO model as a solution and to potentially integrate that into a larger part of our healthcare strategy in the future?
How did we come to believe that the only way to treat disease is by giving drugs?
The military is a microcosm of what the problem society is having.
Soldiers' use of prescription drugs has tripled in the past 5 years.
When you're deployed, they feed you. All this stuff just to keep you going. Mission. This medications I was on.
The Army Surgeon General directed that we establish the Pain Management Task Force to take a look at alternatives to narcotics.
I'm 2.5 months out of combat. I was skeptical. So skeptical. I am a complete new person.
So that's what introduced us. This is a problem that grabbed our attention in the Department of Defense. And a task force that General Thomas referred to just then released a report in 2010 that described a problem for us that we couldn't turn away from. And immediately after the task force report was released, Army Medicine embarked on a massive campaign to restructure the way we deliver pain care in our organization. We wanted to introduce new and integrative modalities for treating pain for our service members and their family. We wanted to change the culture of pain management in military medicine. Pretty easy, right? This is the footprint in which we operate in the Army MedCom. So it exists around the world, large medical centers, smaller community hospitals, and troop clinics. We care for about 4 million beneficiaries with a medical staff, uniformed and civilian, about 160,000 folks. The task force laid out for us the magnitude and the scope of the problem. And all of the things we needed to do, the one thing that was clear, we would never be able to buy enough pain specialists or build large enough pain clinics to work our way out of this mess with pain. We had to rely on primary care as a major driver for our solution. We also had to ensure that we leveraged the expertise of our specialty community beyond the patients that they would actually see directly in their clinic. You can imagine where this led us. We started inventing a DoD solution like we often do, but we didn't spend any of your tax dollars on this because we were quickly referred to University of New Mexico. We met with Sanjeev and Dr. Katzman and the Pain ECHO team and figured out a way to adapt this model to make it work for us. Now, the military came to this with an extensive history in using telemedicine assets, and we had huge amount of bandwidth across military medicine that allows us to connect patients and providers across the United States, Europe, the Pacific, and across war zones. But what ECHO offered us was something very unique. Instead of using this technology for providers to talk to each other or to do patient care, it really introduced the concept to us of building those knowledge networks, of building capacity where it didn't exist in primary care. That was revolutionary for us and custom-made for the problem that we had. So we worked with the UNM team, developed a proposal, and brought it forward to the stakeholders we needed to make this successful. Now, the first stakeholders we went to in the military, of course, are our senior leadership. And so they're easy to find. And we went to the generals and we said, hey, we need your support on this. And what usually is a very painful process in garnering senior leader support, I will tell you it was different with ECHO. For example, we had a brief schedule at the Pentagon with a 2-star general. We agonized over this for weeks. We had dozens of slides and charts and graphs to make our case. We piped in Dr. Aurora and the ECHO staff into the Pentagon to help twist this general's arm to make the case that we should go forward with this. 15 minutes into a 60-minute scheduled brief, the general just said, I get it. How fast can we get this going? And what can I do to help you? That's what makes us radically different. We went on to the primary care community, and again, we're trying to help them. This was developed with primary care in mind and with primary care support, but we surveyed the field and talked to them. Talked to the leadership in our medical homes in the Army, and talked to the providers on the ground. And to a person, they understood that the problem was going to be there no matter what happened. They signed up, said, let's do it. But they asked us for two things. Give us some formal education. Teach us how to really use this new tool that we're excited about. And give us protected time so it doesn't count against our productivity when we're sitting there learning and being mentored. These are both very reasonable, and I will tell you, absolutely necessary components of any successful ECHO program. Now, I love this next group, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm about to say. But we went into the specialty community. These were going to be our leaders that would build our hubs, that would mentor our primary care folks in our network, expecting them to mirror the enthusiasm and support that we received from both our senior leadership and the primary care community. I was a little surprised when a very small but vocal minority within the pain specialty community didn't embrace this at first. To some, the idea of building champions in primary care was perceived as a threat to their specialty. They felt there was nothing better they can do than to see the patients themselves, and despite the wait list and the backlog, they really were convinced that the only way out of this was them to keep working and working and working. And they weren't really the best partners at first with primary care. But over time, we didn't limit ourselves to that group, and we found champions within the specialty community, and there were many. And they demonstrated that this successfully builds networks. It builds relationships. It created relationships between specialty care and primary care that never existed and probably still don't exist to this extent in other programs that I'm familiar with in military medicine. So it was a very strong thing. And nothing converts skeptics better than successful programs. So I would say most of our reluctant warriors have signed up for this now, and competition is driving them all to do their part in their section of the military. Now, right now, we're in our third year of collaboration with the University of New Mexico. 4 out of the 5 regional medical commands in the Army have functioning knowledge networks, hub and spokes. And the 5th one, with assistance from University of New Mexico, hopefully will stand up on their own this year. We deliver a curriculum based on the UNM curriculum, the same content pushed out across the Army medicine and all of our pain echo clinics every week, standardizing everybody's new understanding of what good pain care looks like. And we're working together to form a coalition that is now expanding beyond the Army. And so we're very pleased to see that this is becoming more of a Department of Defense issue as the Navy picks up the baton and runs in collaboration with the University of Mexico to replicate a pain echo in Navy facilities this year. And the Air Force will follow. The Department of Defense is looking to organize a DoD-level echo initiative to look for other disease conditions that would lend themselves to this model of learning and collaboration and capacity building. So we're very excited. Heading into my retirement, there's nothing I'm happier about than seeing ECHO get off the ground in my old organization, and we look forward to great things and taking care of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. Thank you.